In this video, I want to answer the question, what is planning poker? Planning poker is a tool used to estimate how long activities will take in a project environment. It derives from the Agile world. It's a tool used in Scrum, but it's a tool that I believe can be used effectively and to great benefit in all sorts of projects. You can use planning poker to estimate durations for a predictive, plan-driven project. Therefore, as a valuable tool, it's something all project managers need to know about, not just Scrum Masters and members of Agile project teams. Planning poker starts with getting together all the people who are going to do the work. It works on a simple assumption, and I believe the correct assumption, that a diverse group of people working together to make an estimate will produce better results, more accurate estimates if you like, than individuals, no matter how expert they are. In fact, experts tend to be blinded by their expertise and blinkered to think in one direction only, and a diverse team, well, they will approach the problem from multiple angles. The principle is simple. We capture each of the requirements that we have, the user stories in Scrum language, on individual cards. And then each member of the team will make an independent estimate of how long they think that activity will take. The team then compares estimates, rethinks its approach, and we continue until we get an answer. If you think the task will take a lot of effort, then you give it a high number in your estimate, and if you think it won't take very much, then you give it a low estimate. Different answers from different people are the basis for a discussion and for deepened understanding among the whole team. The outcome of a round of planning poker needs to be consensus. The whole team needs to agree on one estimate. The planning poker process is based on the Delphi technique, which has been used for many years and was developed by the Rand Corporation. Let's go through a simple 10-step planning poker process so that you can understand how it works. Step 1, the product owner, the person who's responsible for delivery, will read out a user story, a requirement that the users or the clients have. In step 2, the whole group will discuss the story. They will ask questions, understand the technical nature, inquire into the potential risks, how novel the idea is, or how conventional it might be. When the group has heard from every team member, in step 3, each team member independently picks one planning poker card that represents their assessment of how long the task will take. And I should say that the numbers on the planning poker cards are not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They get bigger and bigger, but with larger gaps, and they tend to follow roughly the Fibonacci sequence. This is because the longer the estimate is, the larger the task is, then the less precise we can be, and therefore it makes sense to use broader and broader estimates. Different planning poker sets have different specific numbers on them, but they all do tend to be based on the Fibonacci sequence. Each number is approximately as big as the two previous numbers added together, although often we use rounded numbers. When the team members have selected their estimate, step 4 is for each of them to place their estimate face down in front of them. And it's only when everyone has done that at step 5, each team member turns over their card and shows them to the team. If there's already consensus, if everybody plays the same card, we're done. However, that rarely happens on the first round. Sometimes some people will have a significantly larger or a significantly smaller estimate than most of the group. Those are the people we need to hear from. So at step 6, people who have played outlier cards with extreme estimates in one direction or the other will explain their reasoning, and the team will be able to ask them questions to understand their thinking. When they explain their thinking and everyone is satisfied that they've understood it, then step 7 is to repeat the secret voting process. If that doesn't produce consensus, then I'm going to call this step 8. You continue repeating the process again and again until you reach consensus. I'll tell you in a minute what you do if you don't quite reach consensus. Step 9 is when consensus is reached, then the product owner will record the consensus estimate on the user story card, and you'll move on to the next story card and work on the next estimate. Finally, step 10, we take all the estimates and use that as the basis for planning the next stage in the project. Now, there are reasons why we often get wide ranges and extreme outliers or a difficulty in finding consensus, but typically it's for one of two reasons. Either on the one hand, it's a lack of detailed understanding and definition of what the user requirement is, and on the other, it's a lack of understanding of the technical nature behind achieving that requirement. One option, therefore, is to resolve the uncertainty by taking a time out, asking people to research either a clearer definition or gaining a better understanding of the technical requirements, and then to return to another round of planning poker at a later date. If you can't resolve the uncertainty, and believe me, quite often what happens is that a holdout will take time, but eventually be drawn into consensus. But if you really can't resolve the uncertainty, then you know something very important, which is that there is a wide range of possible outcomes in terms of the duration of the task, and therefore the range is what you need to record as your estimate. So, planning poker is a simple tool for estimating that harnesses the wisdom of a group. It's widely used in projects that follow the Scrum approach, but I believe you can be using planning poker in any sort of project, including traditional waterfall planning predictive projects.